I spent like one of the days in the lead up, I think I slept for 16 hours. I was so drained. Just said something simple to me. So, like, whatever happens, like, you might not feel your best, but you can give it your best.
Welcome to Social Kick. I'm Brian Lundquist. We got a partial crew. John's off doing his sprinting or something, but we got Luke Paddington, and we're replaced by a swimmer of many meters. The world record holder or setter of the fastest time around the island of Manhattan. He was the first man to complete the Ocean 7 within a calendar year. We're going to get all into the details of what it is. We're going to venture into a space that we as sprinters do not know. Andy Donaldson, welcome to Social Kick. Good to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us here. It's a pleasure. I'm excited for this conversation.
Yeah, we are too. We were just talking before we started recording about how swimming's all about, the stories and the chatter and, getting to talk to people. And so, with that spirit in mind, Luke and I cracked a beer. So, cheers to you. It's the morning, our afternoon, but
I've got my mango smoothie. So cheers.
There you go. What was on the docket for training today?
Oh, this morning was a threshold session. So I live in Western Australia. We've just had our morning session, and it was a bit watered down. A few of the guys are training up for Australian Nationals, the Open Water Nationals. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the Open Water group. I'm not going to be racing there because 10K is now too short for me, as bizarre as that sounds. But I kind of got swept amongst their program, and instead of it being around 4 or 5K threshold, it was about 2Ks. So it was quite nice. Quite a nice way to start the day.
So you have a race this weekend, right? You have Australia's oldest open water race in Perth. Is that in the river? Is that correct? And if so, how are you preparing for that? I do,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of fun. It's a 3.5 kilometer swim, and the types of swims I do nowadays are like 35Ks. So
yeah,
it's a bit of a splash and dash, and I come from a 200 meter background, so like I'm still comprehending the fact that is my race distance now. But yeah, we're very lucky where we live here in Western Australia in Perth that through the 2 or 3 months of summer, there's pretty much an open water race every single weekend. Dang. It's just amazing. And yeah, this one here on Sunday, the swim through Perth is 3.5 Ks down the river from the city centre to this beautiful park.
Yeah.
And yeah, just to be able to swim outdoors in these amazing places is just, it's such a privilege and joy to be able to do.
I remember my brother swam the World Championships in Perth back in '98, I want to say. And he loved that river. He loved the downtown. But he did come back with reports of he didn't go in the ocean because of the sharks. What in Perth especially, right? I know Western Australia especially. It's you gotta be aware.
We're going there right from the start.
right from the start. I think at Perth, is that why you're in the river? Because the river is so safer? Why the river?
Well, I think there's a lot of events in the ocean.
Yeah,
there's a lot of events in the ocean. This one, the swim through Perth's in the river. I think it's over 100 years old, something crazy like that. Or it might be 80 years old. But yeah, one of the things that most people ask me is like, don't you think of the sharks when you're swimming?
Yeah, of course. That's got to be the question you get asked the most.
It's got to be the question you get asked the most, and yeah, you do. Like you'd be a robot if it didn't come across your mind.
Yeah.
What I kind of think is, like, yes, there's every chance that there might be something out there. We're entering into their territory after all. That's the nature of the beast. But there's also a lot of cool things to see as well.
Yeah.
And, I don't know the statistics off my head, but I'm pretty sure there's more people that are hit by rhinoceroses in the middle of New York City than get bitten by sharks. Like it's some ridiculous statistic like that. So, but it's been built up to be this massive thing. And
Yeah.
like, chances are I have seen sharks in the middle of my swims.
Yeah.
I've also spent a disproportionate amount of time swimming in places that nobody goes to, like in the middle of the Pacific, between islands in Hawaii. Like you're gonna meet something out there, but I still have all my limbs, and I haven't encountered any moments where I felt really unsafe, because most of my swims, there's an incredible water safety crew around, or a support team that sits in a boat that's about a meter away from you. So, like, you're not being reckless. You're not swimming across the English Channel, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world, on your own. You pick up your bag and go down on a Tuesday morning and swim this channel. Like, it's it's all planned, and you have your safety. Everything's done with safety in mind.
Having an option that works with my affinity for swimming and my love for being in the pool that can help me by, taking care of the wrinkles before the pool, with the goggles, so I don't look like I've been in the pool all day, to not being itchy, to smelling nice. It's kind of nice to have an option that does all those things.
Right when I started sweating, when I hit the gym, I'd be like, oh my God, I can even smell chlorine. And I thought my freaking nose sensors were dead from years of smelling chlorine, but somehow it still seeped through. But this lotion is starting to really eliminate it.
You can enjoy these benefits too. Go to Try Hard and use code SOCIALCARE for 20% off your order. Yeah, I think I was trying to explain to somebody recently about how you kind of just accept the fact that there's some unknowns when you get into the water and you open water swim. Because I think there's a lot of people that who make the transition from pool swimming to open water, or maybe they just are doing a triathlon for the first time and the swim is the big scary thing, and they hate swimming in open water because they can't see the bottom. It's dark and they can't see anything. And there's that leap of faith of, just accepting the environment that you're in, and I think the same thing if I go for a trail run and I'm up on a remote trail, that there's probably mountain lions. Sometimes I'm like, I wonder how many mountain lions have actually seen me running, or are tracking me running. And I'm sure there's tons of sharks that have seen you swimming, but the times that they've messed with you are few and far between.
No, right. It's part of the what you're getting yourself into, and I think that mental aspect is actually a bigger challenge than the physical part of it.
Yeah.
All of the unknowns, like, yes, you've got the creatures that live in the ocean, you've got conditions that throw you about, and it's not calm. You might get like a whack to the face in the art, like by some other swimmer. What I do in ultramarathon swimming, some of the distances are so long that it starts to go into nighttime, and you can't see where you're going. So yes, there's all these physical challenges, but the unknowns, but even what should be a 20-mile swim could take you, twice as long as it would do in a pool, because currents push you off course. And although as the crow flies, it's 20 miles, you end up doing 30.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, mentally, like, that's one of the scary parts, but also one of the exciting parts. Like, what makes it so interesting to be in open water, and in particular this ultramarathon space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you think is the most dangerous thing or the biggest challenge you face? And I thought about currents, I thought about conditions, I thought about sun, I thought about salt, I thought about the darkness, the unknown. I thought about all this stuff. What do you think is the number one thing that you did not realize when you got into this? Because you just got into this in the last 5-6 years, right? So what do you think is the biggest challenge you've had, and how have you overcome it?
Well, I think when I approach a swim, let's use the Molokai Channel, for example, which is 44 kilometers between the islands of Molokai and Oahu in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Say that's my goal, okay? I want to get from Molokai across to Oahu. What are the challenges I'm going to face along the way? that's a long distance. I'm going to have to be prepared for that physically, but also, be prepared that it might take me 10 plus hours, like 10 plus hours alone in your own thoughts. That's a pretty tough thing.
Plus 10 hours without a margarita in Hawaii is a long time too.
That's the incentive, Brian. That's what the guy's got on the boat, and it's the carrot on the stick,
10-hour delay is a long time to be waiting for a damn margarita.
I think a sniff of a margarita after a swim like that would send you over the edge. But yeah, you've got swimming in the night. You've got swimming with potentially 3-meter swells. You've got, these insane trade winds that come from the east that you have to navigate. These currents that push you massively off course. Sharks, I think it's like 700 meters deep. So, imagine what's that, 14, 50-meter pools in depth, or I don't know what kind of building I could relate that to, but you just don't know what's underneath you. So, that stuff in advance, and you can go and prepare for that, because, I could be the toughest person in the world, but if I've not done the training to swim that distance, it doesn't matter how tough I am. Or I use the example of swimming the English Channel where the water temperature is like ice cold. If I'm not used to swimming in cold water, it doesn't matter how tough I am.
Yeah.
Right.
But I've had swims where it's the things that you don't foresee happening which are the toughest. I've been in a 25K swim in Sydney where my boat broke down halfway through, and we got stranded 3 kilometers off the coast. And this was in a swim called Pam to Shelley, and 1 minute swimming there, my boat's beside me. You always have a support team with you.
Yeah,
they're your eyes and your ears, and you follow the boat essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
And the weather was so bad. It was pelting it down with rain. Waves were like crashing up onto the boat, and like everyone's on there like huddling down in their ponchos. I'm thinking like, shit, they're gonna pull the swim. Like this, we shouldn't really be out here. And all of a sudden, this boat starts taking off, and I'm like, what the hell? And like I stop, and it's like going off into the distance. I'm like, what are these guys doing? Like, I knew like it was the first time skipper, like he'd never skippered the swimmer before. I'm like, what the hell? Like, and then he starts like coming round, and he's starting to come back, and then next thing I know, they're circling around me, and so I'm thinking like, freaking heck, there must be a shark in the water. Like maybe they're trying to like scare it off or whatnot. So I throw my hands up. I'm like, Michael, like, what the hell's going on? He's like, don't worry, Andy. It's not a shark, but we're sinking.
Oh, shit.
So much water had come in the boat that they were sitting so low in the water, and the bilge pump that like pumps out the water had stopped working. It was like overclogged up. And so they were having to like accelerate the boat to get the water to the back of it. Yeah. And they get bags and cups and whatever they had. They were scrambling around to try scoop it and like get the water out of the boat. So like it's the unexpected that throws you right off. And it's, I like to talk about two things, like being resilient and being robust.
Yeah.
I think being robust is being prepared for the challenges ahead. So, we talked about doing your distance in training because there's no shortcuts there, or getting acclimatized to the cold water, or practicing swimming in the night so that like, your zone of comfort, if you think of it as a circle, like it grows and grows, so that when something out there happens to you, you're not massively outside of your comfort zone. But being resilient is like, how do you respond in the moment? And I tell you, when your boat breaks down and waves are smashing the whole crew around, and you're just thinking like, what the hell's going on? Like, that's when your resilience gets tested, and that's when you really see your character and just how prepared you and the team are. So yeah,
I want to dive into that, Andy, because we've had a few like ultra marathon open water swimmers on the show. We've had people who have swum North Channel, people have done Catalina swim like you, cross Monterey Bay, cross Tahoe, done Molokai at age 12. And all of those guests, they all, Becca, man, it was crazy. And did she finish it at 12? I think she finished it
I
at
know
12.
there was a 14-year-old that did it.
It was Becca, man, I think it was it. So all these people did it, and we talked about the successes and how great it was and their challenges. Of course, you did all 7. But we did have one guy, and this happens a lot, where we had one guy who attempted to swim from Tobago to Trinidad, where I'm from. It had never been done before. He didn't make it. Marcus, yeah. Yeah, he didn't make it. Yeah. And then another guy a year later from Trinidad attempted it, didn't make it, attempted it a few months later and made it. Have you had that where you didn't make the swim? And if so, how do you deal with that? How do you then plan and reset and get all psyched up and worked up for again? Or have you not had that challenge yet?
It's a real tough part of the sport is that's very much a reality that failure can happen. There's so many variables outside of your control. The weather, the conditions, even down to how you feel on the week leading up to a swim. Like, you guys will have experienced it where you're tapering for an event and you get sick. I had that before my Catalina. It's probably the only swim I've ever done where I didn't want to be there in the lead up to it. I think it was like swim number 6 out of 7 of the Ocean 7. And I was so worried about letting people down because I'd come so far and I had family coming in from Scotland and friends flying in from the US to come on my boat. And I was like, I don't want to let these guys down. One thing that framed it for me, which I'm forever grateful for, and I try to apply this to all things, is when my dad, he just pulled me aside before we took the ferry across to Catalina and we're about to swim back. He's like, look, I see that you don't look yourself. Like, you look like you have the world on your shoulders. Like, what's going on? I explained to him, like, I don't feel great. I spent like one of the days in the lead up, I think I slept for 16 hours. I was so drained. And feeling, I'd say, about 40%. And he just said something simple to me. So, like, whatever happens, like, you might not feel your best, but you can give it your best. And like, I think with these swims, like, that's all you can do. You give your best. If Mother Nature is complying and is kind enough to let you across, great. But it doesn't matter how strong you are if there's 30 knot winds in the wrong direction and a tide that pulls you completely off course, then you're not getting across. Yeah. Like, I did Molokai, and I think it took me 16 hours. I think I spent about 2 hours swimming almost on the spot because the currents were so bad.
Jesus.
And my goal was to swim about 9 or 10 hours. And about 2 weeks later, a 60-year-old woman went quicker than me. Well, like, it's a very humbling sport, but
she's cheating.
Like, you have secretly had a pair of fins underneath the water, but I think results. This is a sport or a discipline where the results aren't so black and white. Like, we all grew up as pool swimmers, and your entire season would be defined on, whether you went faster than a set target. whether that's 22 seconds for a 50-meter freestyle all the way to going sub 150 in a 200. And your entire season would be dependent on, a couple of minutes of racing. This thing, I've been fortunate to break world records for speed crossings. Like I broke them in swimming around Manhattan Island. I've broken them swimming across the Cook Strait. But the swims that I come to value the most and that I look back at with the most amount of pride have not been the fastest ones, but the ones that tested me most. The Molokai Channel, where it took me 16 hours. Suguru Strait, which I think is about the equivalent of 15 miles.
Wow.
And it took me 13 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Catalina, when I was sick, and I managed to push through and just get to the other side.
Damn.
And so, yeah, these failures are tough. But at the same time, I think it's just prolonging, or it's just that's what the journey is meant to be for you. And at the end of it, whether you come back again and are successful, even if you're not, like, I think the journey is what matters most and where all of the value comes from. The result is just like the sort of cherry on the cake.
Andy, I appreciate that. That hits. And it was not the answer I was expecting. I was expecting an answer. God damn it. I'm from the land of Sir William Wallace. I'm a Scot. I swim in locks and Nessie is below me. I'm not afraid of any sharks. I got Nessie in my locks. I'm a Scotsman. That's where I'm from. Brian, over to you.
I mean, I would love to swim in Loch Ness. I mean, it is a dream.
You should.
Are you
I'm
guys
kind of
coming?
surprised you haven't.
I mean, I'm also half Asian, so I don't like the cold.
Godzilla next.
All right, we're going to change it up and ask some of these audience questions that we got submissions for you from our followers on Instagram at Social Kick Swim. If you want to include your question in the show, make sure that you're following us there. And sometimes we pull from Spotify and YouTube comments as well. But before I get into this one, I'm going to preface it because it's a question about how fast you can swim and like what your average pace is. But your average pace for that world record Manhattan swim is faster than Pam Junla or David Popovich or Jack Alexi can even come close to swimming at a single 100 meters in a pool. And somehow you averaged 44 per 100
seconds per 100
for the whole damn 5.5 hour swim. Can you please explain this to me?
Oh gosh. Right. Okay. Where did I begin? Are you able to take up a map of Manhattan on the screen? Is that something you're able to do?
Let Luke pull it if you can.
I got it.
Yeah. Because I think this would help with the explanation. But
I think you're right. Yeah.
I'll come out of the blocks and say, if there weren't any currents, that would not be the case.
Well, I mean, obviously, but it was so crazy to see that average pace. I'm like, I didn't even see it at first. And then we were looking at it, talking before the show, and Luke's like, did you see that he averaged 44s? I'm like, what? 44s? How's that possible? Surely he was fighting the current in one direction. So that's where I just would love to know like how the current moves around that one.
Yeah, exactly. So Manhattan, where it sits in the world, is it's at the river mouth of the Hudson. And so it's close enough to the Atlantic that it gets tidal movements. So we've got, for anyone listening, we've got a map of Manhattan right here. And this is the Strava screenshot that I sent through to the guys. So the waters around Manhattan Island, you've got the Hudson River, you've got the East River and the Harlem River. And they're all in their own way affected by the tides, but also at different times. So I'd reached out to New York Open Water, the guys that run the swims around the island. And I told them my ambitions. I was like, look, I want to have a crack at breaking the world record. What do we need for that? And how do we do it? The time was like 5 hours 44. I think it was about 10 or 15 years old, held by a guy called Ollie Wilkinson. Mm-hmm. And they were explaining, right, you need the biggest tide difference possible. So if you think of high tide and low tide, they actually chart that out, and you can see in advance what that looks like in accordance with the moon cycle, like full moon, half moon, quarter moons. Mm-hmm. And the bigger the difference, the more water is moving between the tides. So, if you've got X amount of meters, then there's more volume out in the rivers.
Wow.
And so we wanted to start in the Upper East Side. And if we timed it when the tide was going out, the water would suck you out the Harlem River, like suck you down, and then you would turn into the Hudson and you'd get sucked down the Hudson. So you've got not just the tide, but you've got the river current as well. But then you had to get around the Battery at the bottom of Manhattan, right at the very tip. You had to get around that before the tide turns, before the tide starts to rise and the water is rushing back up the river coming from the ocean.
And so you kind of had a deadline. So this was high risk because you needed to get there before that happened, right?
Right. So we ended up we modeled the swim before we actually took this on. So we had all of the checkpoints that we wanted to reach and the times that we needed to be there in order to be on track to meet the tides. Otherwise, if we were late, even by 10 minutes, we were screwed. We were absolutely screwed. Like if we were late by 10, 15 minutes, we were not getting around the Battery in time. The tide would start to come in and we'd be swimming against the tide and we get pushed back upstream, up the Hudson, back the way we came. And so we had to make sure we were in the right place at the right time in order to really maximize the tides and get around this island as quickly as possible. But if you got it right, you had current assistance the entire way around Manhattan Island, which is 46 kilometers. So it was a very, talking about resilience and being robust, like this was, being prepared right down to the T. If we were going to have any chance of making this record, we had to get every single thing right.
Wow.
Hey, do you think that's the biggest opportunity that open water swimming has? Is this the science of the oceanography to help you guys in planning?
I think it depends on the event. So something like this, which is an ultramarathon swim, and you can pick the days and right down to the minute that you start, like for sure, you want to optimize your swim. The Olympic events like the 10K, everyone's in the same race. I think it becomes less about reading the currents and reading the tides and whatnot, and more about how do you position yourself in a race, because the time doesn't really matter. It's the position that matters. But, for this Manhattan swim, we had planned it down to the T. And so what it meant was we had to start swimming in the middle of the Harlem River at the most obnoxious time of the night, 2 a.m. start.
Yeah, I saw that 2 a.m. start.
2 a.m. start, so that we could hit the tides right where we wanted to and try get around the island and to all these checkpoints at the right time.
Man, you could have just hit a Red Bull vodka before you got started.
I'd probably swim down the wrong river if I did that,
Forget the Red Bull. Give me the Red Bull vodka.
Did you race the relay teams that were racing then too? I know Anthony Irvin was in one. Was it the same race or same time, or was it a different time?
I wasn't out on the same day or night as them.
Okay.
Awesome. Firstly, that Anthony Irvin is getting into open water. I think that's sick.
Yeah, I guess he was part of a relay race around that same time. But which, hey,
But
you swam
you know, like,
46,000. You swam 46,000 meters that day. I mean, sprinters don't do that in like a few weeks.
but like if you're thinking of iconic places in the world, New York is up there.
Yeah.
And to be able to swim, like I came from a pool swimming background, 200 meters, and you guys know what it's like. You go to these amazing countries, you get to travel with your sport, but sometimes all you get to see is the pool. Like through this, we get to see, like, we're very fortunate, we get to see all these sites that you just would never get to in normal day life. Like we were starting in the Upper East River at 2 a.m. in the morning, so we had to jump into these IRBs and get taken around Manhattan at 1 a.m. And I remember sitting there, everything's dark on the river, but the whole city is just lit up, and we're speeding along the river, and I felt like I was in some like Navy SEALs assault team. I was like, here we go, ready to get like, stuck in. And, like, you've got all the landmarks there. Like even when I was out swimming, like I was having a bit of a shocker of a swim. I felt super, super sluggish, but I breathe to my left and we're going anti-clockwise. So every time I'm breathing, I see something different. Like I remember coming out of the Harlem and into the Hudson and just seeing the George Washington Bridge
beautiful,
spanning across the length of the Hudson, and it's all lit up, and like it's just so like
awesome.
Such a sight. Like you're pinching yourself like, freaking heck, I'm about to swim under this thing.
Right. And
then you go further down and you see Empire State on the left, One World Trade Center. You look to the right, you see like Statue of Liberty. It was a bit congested about then because I think we were about 6 a.m. in the morning, so people were starting to commute to work, and the Staten Island ferries were starting to come in, so we had to kind of navigate our way through that. But I think one of the best parts of the sport is just these opportunities that you would never get in everyday life, to see these parts of the world from a different angle.
Yeah, I was able to travel around a bit for swimming, and I got really tired of people asking me, hey, what was so cool about Manchester, England, or what was so cool about Thailand, or what did you like? What did you go see? And too often I was answering that with, I don't know, I just did, hotel to pool, and I didn't take the time to see. And there came a point in my career where I just decided, okay, no, every trip that I take that's cool, I'm going to, even if the main event, the main swim meet is, hotel to pool, because I'm focused on the task at hand, that I'm going to build in the time after the fact to see these places that swimming gives me the opportunity to go and see. So that's the right attitude. I'm glad to hear that you soak it in when you're in the middle of it, for sure.
I think that was a lesson from those pool swimming days. Like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to spend all this money going there, right. I ought to see it, and I ought to try and meet some of the swimmers in the community that are there too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of community, I want to come back to I teed up the audience questions and then I didn't actually ask it. So shout out to Cooper Cheshire 23, who was asking about your pace. Like our audience, and people want to know about the 44 per 100 meter is obviously a bit deceiving because there's a huge current involved. So Cooper was asking, what's your casual pace? And then if you were to race like a 10 or 20K in flat conditions, what kind of pace are you targeting in that?
What is probably a casual pace for me is 115 per 100.
Okay.
That would be like if we're just thinking of gears. I know people use different things, like we use A1, A2, A3 threshold, but if I was thinking of first gear, 115s per 100 long course. A2 or second gear, 112s. And that's what I would want to be sitting at in a world record attempt, like a Manhattan Island.
Okay. What if it's 35K?
112s.
Still 112. God, man, that is fast. That's faster than I thought you were going to say. Wow.
The rationale, and it all came from, in West Australia, we have the Rottnest Channel Swim. It's 20 Ks. And I always was a big believer that you just get into the one pace and you stay in that as long as possible. And it's like your fastest, it's not threshold because that's a long way to hold that for, but it's the fastest you can sustain, because that's a race. And if you're just going 1 second per 100 quicker than the other guy, and you build a lead of 300 or 400 meters at the 15K mark, and you get 5 Ks to go, that's unassailable. And you don't really need to be changing paces, I don't think, in a swim like that. You just need consistency and a big engine, and to make that as easy as possible for as long as possible. So, 112s, if I'm really in shape, that's what I'd be aiming to hold over these bigger, longer distances. Third gear or A3, 110s, thresholds, maybe 108s. So it's not, the range is not that huge.
Right.
And I would never really go into much above A2 in a longer distance swim.
I was going to ask, talk technique. So are you doing a 2-beat kick, breathing to your left, breathing every 2, high elbows, shoulder driven? Like what's your focus to hold that 112 for 35K?
Exactly what you said there, Luke. Exactly what you said. I like to, I just, worked a lot on technique as a pool swimmer, as a 200 meter freestyler.
It's a nice stroke.
And, in open water, you have all these elements that affect your stroke. And I just think it's most about, where am I getting the propulsion from? Getting it from what happens under the water. So if I can keep that relatively consistent and make that A1 or A2 or first gear or second gear as efficient as possible, so that I'm using the most minimal amounts of effort or energy to just maintain that, then that's the goal. And, I like to talk about the state of flow quite a lot, and I'm sure you guys have experienced it in most of the swims that you do, like where everything feels timeless and effortless. You're not even thinking, or you're thinking about, what's for dinner. I'm not really thinking about my stroke, because I don't want to be in an event like that. I do all that in training, where we're doing the drills and we're breaking things down and we're, reinforcing the good habits. In those swims, there's going to be times that you get taken out of the state of flow, like, if you're feeling sick, or, you get stung by a jellyfish, or your boat breaks down. How quickly can you get back into that state of flow so that you can be working in that optimum state and conserve your energy for the 10, 12, 14 hours that you're going to be swimming? That's the goal.
Yeah. God, that's a long time to be in flow state. What about after flow state? So we had a question from Swammer Dog 4 who wanted to know, what does a perfect non-training day look like for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I like, I suppose I have things that I put in what I call a mental health toolbox. So I like to let my hair down. Could be just something as simple as like going down the beach. Got beautiful beaches here in Perth. Hanging out with my sister and her young family. Getting a lot of fun and energy from that. Relaxing, watching movies, hiking. Love a good hike. If I wasn't a swimmer, that's probably what I'd be doing. Some kind of like trail running or hiking. Just love being out in nature and the outdoors. It's just the best. So yeah, just things that fill your cup. And I think it's important. I've come to realize later in life, and I'm in my mid-30s now, like you got to make time for these things and not just keep plugging away, and then breaking and falling over the edge of a cliff. Like these, it's important to make the time for these things. And the other one I would add to that is reading for fun.
Ooh, like what?
Oh, in the last couple of months, I read all the Lord of the Rings books.
You read all the Lord of the Rings books. Okay.
Yeah.
You got a favorite?
It's a marathon read, Brian.
It's a marathon read, you know.
That's a state of flow if I've ever heard of one.
Oh man, like, well, you know, I think everyone, especially when they get older, they start reading all these self-development books and, you know, these non-fiction things or autobiographies in the search or the pursuit for improvement. But
right,
man, sometimes just reading for fun is like, it just allows you to switch off. And you know, I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. I'm always like on the go and my mind's always thinking. So to get those moments of reprieve, especially before going to sleep. So that's, I just built it into my habits and my daily habits. I'll read for 15, 20 minutes before I go to sleep. And it just allows me to unwind, and then I get a better sleep because I've not got all these things swirling around in my head.
Yeah,
right.
Instead, I'm thinking about, you know, the quest to destroy the ring.
You should write a book called How to Outswim a Shark in 10 Hours.
Prevention.
Reading them.
You just don't get in.
start writing them. Yeah, prevention. Yeah, it's like abstinence. What my parents always told me. That's the one way. Is abstinence. Okay, I do want to talk a little bit about the training because I think it was your strength coach who asked the question about you know, your favorite exercises in the gym. But, you know,
that is my strength coach.
Yeah, for sure.
He told me he was in the gym when he was like, I'm going to submit this question.
Yeah, but I want to know beyond that too. Well, I want to know beyond that too. Like besides just the gym work, and no offense, I love lifting, but also what does training look like? Because we often, as you know, with part of like swimmer, pool sprinter, PTSD is growing up swimming way more meters and yards than was probably necessary and effective. And now you've got the top sprinters in the world who are implementing like hyper specificity, which is often, you know, they still swim some yardage, but you know, they're going above what their race distance is in training. Whereas, you know, I trained for triathlon, I did marathon and, you know, in Ironman. And when I trained for that, like you're never doing your race distance in training. And so you're doing a sport that's like on the flip side of it. And for some reason, those like two are in the middle. Training distance is always in the middle of like either longer than or shorter than what your race distance is. But like, how do, besides the, you know, setting up all of the logistics and the strategy around currents and conditions and the mindset, like what tactically does it take to be able to, you know, set world records in channel swimming?
I mean, I think coming back to that preparation point, you know, being ready for all of the challenges that you'll encounter. So, you know, whether that's the cold, the rough conditions, swimming at night. Let's say we've got that all ticked off. So your cold water, like I was swimming in the Swan River to get ready for the English Channel. Luckily in Perth, it's winter when it's summer over there. So, you know, there's things you're doing to acclimatize for these things. In the pool, in terms of distance, I'm not actually doing huge amounts. Like you were mentioning, Brian, like you don't do massive, like if you did a marathon every week, you'd just kill yourself.
Yeah.
It has to be, I remember getting told as a kid, freshly onto the sort of like Scottish squad, that hard work will always get you somewhere, smart work will take you further. So, you know, I could go into the gym and, you know, work really hard, do bicep curls. I might look the part when it's like rock up on the beach at the start line and have bigger guns than everyone, but it's not it's not conducive to actually making you, is this going to make me faster across the channel? Is this going to set me up? But probably not. So
I don't know. 90% of swimming fast is looking good.
it's a mental game, isn't it? For the first 50 meters, maybe, and then
that's all I know. Okay.
But I got back into swimming during COVID. I'd been out of the sport for a number of years. I'd spent the year before it backpacking, traveling the world, drinking, nice. Partying, which was very nice.
Hell yeah.
But, getting back in, I didn't want to go straight back into 10 sessions a week, busting my ass every day and feeling like a zombie at my desk after swimming. So we were very particular and focused a lot on quality over quantity. What can we do in the pool that's purposeful? How can we replicate what we're going to experience in one of these ultramarathon swims? So we were looking at things like, get our technique into shape, yep, but can I go to this local race, let's say like a swim through Perth, but do 10Ks before it so that there's mileage in the arms, and then just see how I perform under pressure when I go and do that swim, replicate what could be the end of a Rottnest Channel swim. So we were trying to think outside the box, my coach and I. And when it comes to the gym, I think a lot of people have it in their head that these endurance athletes need light weights and lots of reps, which, growing up, that's what I thought as well. But with an ultramarathon swim, let's say the Rottnest Channel swim, it's 20 kilometers, which is about 15 miles. After a certain time of the day, the wind swings around. It's just a weather pattern here in the west of Australia. The wind swings around and it's headwind, and it picks up to about 15 knots. It's guaranteed almost every day in the summer. So the longer you're out there, the more risk you're exposed to, that the conditions are going to change. So I think for a lot of people that want to do something like a Rottnest Channel swim, that want to do an English Channel, you actually want to build your speed. And that might sound a bit counterintuitive for ultramarathon swimming in an endurance event, but if you can, let's use some numbers here. If you can make 130 pace, if you can bring that down to 125 with the same amount of effort, you can get across the channel a lot quicker and reduce the exposure to all of these changes in the conditions, because you're stronger, you've been working on more power in the gym. Another thing, you probably want to make those smaller muscles and the tendons and ligaments more durable, so strength really helps with that too. Really diving in. So to answer Brian's question, who submitted that one, like one of my favorite exercises in the gym is like strengthening my hip flexors, because all these tiny kicks over the course of 5 or 6 hours really fatigue these hip flexors out. And so,
Interesting.
Being very specific and working smart, building durability, building power in the gym. I think I'm doing about 30 Ks a week in the pool, so it's not massive amounts, but those are all at quality. Building that pace, building that engine, so that if I can do sub 110 short rest pace with my eyes closed, if I can make that comfortable, 112 pace is going to be, I could do that till the cows come home. Mm-hmm. That's the logic that we're applying, quality over quantity, being specific and setting yourself up to actually be a bit faster, because that's going to put you in a better position to reduce exposure to changes in the conditions and all the other risks that are associated with being out there for long periods of time.
Quality over quantity, like 500 meter warm downs. Is that what you're saying?
Oh man. Stick a pair of fins on. That's it.
It brings me to my question I was going to ask you about your left butt cheek. Your left butt cheek.
Have you been Googling news articles?
Marathon swimmer from West Kilbride overcomes butt cheek cramp to cross the North Channel. It's a great headline. It's funny. It made me read it.
If that's not clickbait, what is?
If
It's
that's not
like...
clickbait, exactly. It's awesome. But it leads to a good question. What do you think is, you just talked about it, what do you think is the best thing that you do for injury prevention? Is it rest? Is it rehab? Is it stretching? Is it strength? What do you think the best thing you do to stave off injury, especially 3 hours in? You know, is it nutrition as well? Is all above? What's the best thing one can do?
I think you should look at it as a day-to-day thing, creating a system. Because if you do that right on race day, you shouldn't get injured unless a freak incident happens. So, that is a combination of things. It's, I don't stretch much. I'll come flying out the blocks to say that, but I get a massage once a week and I go and see my sports chiropractor once a week. So I've got maintenance. I've built that into my schedule. Eating well, I've been really focusing on my nutrition, making sure that I'm getting enough calories in, I'm getting enough protein. The timing of it is good. I'm eating as quickly as I can after training. Just small habits that all add up. Sleep, I think, is a really big one.
Yeah.
It is super underestimated or undervalued. Like, I think over the last 3 months, I have been rigorous about my sleeping and getting it, like going to bed at the same time, making sure that my dinners are 3 hours before I go to bed so that it's not like a washing machine sitting in there as I'm lying down trying to get to sleep. I'm aiming for 8 hours. I'm aiming for like a good quality, like sleep where I'm not waking up and peeing in the middle of the night and I'm awake for ages. Because I think you want consistency. I think I remember hearing Zach Stubblety-Cook, the breaststroker from Australia, talk about it. He's like, there's no point in smashing it one day and then just being wrecked for the rest of the week. Like that's not how you get progress. Like it's consistency. Like you'd rather be here, but staying at that and doing that for long periods of time. That's where the growth, that's where development's going to come from. And I think the same goes for injury prevention. Yeah. If you are just consistent with all of these little habits that add up, you won't get injured. And then when you're out in the channel, I will speak to the butt cramp because I feel I better kind of explain what happened there. I did. I got cramp in a swim, and it was probably the first time that ever happened to me.
I've never heard about that before.
So, you can go in as prepared as possible, but some things you have to have experience to really know what to do in those moments. So, this swim from Northern Ireland to Scotland, it's about 34 kilometres. So what's that, like 25 miles? The water temperature is like a freaking ice bath. It's shocking.
Wow.
Throw in the unpredictable weather of Scotland. Yeah, exactly. Why do you think people listening are like, why the hell did they do this? The day I was out there, it was, I think, like the 19th of September. So it's like as late in the season as it gets. And it's an overcast day. I'm out there swimming, and at the same time was another girl, Fiona Cullinane, another Australian. She was quite prepared for the cold. An Argentinian who
she had a lot of brown fat. Is that what you're saying?
More than me. I'm going to be, I don't want to land myself in hot water here, but yeah, she was better prepared, let's say. An Argentinian who hadn't taken a hot shower in over a year.
Wow.
What?
And a Russian guy who was like a skinhead, and I just thought, like, this guy, he's going to eat this up for breakfast. Like, he's going to be fine.
Wow.
About 3 hours in, Russian guy's already dropped out.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm spiraling in my head, and I'm like, freaking heck, like, I am so fresh. You never use the C word. You never say cold. You always try and put this positive frame on it. And like, I can feel my body shutting down, and like my arms are heavy, and I'm getting cramp in my ass. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I shout up to, I'm trying everything. I'm like, positive self-talk. I'm visualizing that we're in Hawaii. I'm like doing slow breathing, like every tool in my arsenal. I'm like, none of this is working. And like visually, like there's this damn wall, and like the cracks are starting to show, and the water's seeping through. And I'm like, freaking heck, like I can't go for another 5 hours, never mind another 5 minutes. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? So I shout up to the guys on the boat, and I'm like, oh crap, like I should let them know, like I'm not out here on my own. And that was like one of the first experiences where things weren't going to plan, and I was like, this is a team sport. Like, I'm not here on my own. I'm going to ask these guys for help. Like, they can't physically jump in, but maybe they can do something. So I shout up, and I'm like, Jay Purcell's my handler. I'm like, Jay, my arms are heavy, feeling fresh, got cramp in my ass. but energy's good. I'm like, my energy's good. So like, he's just pissing himself laughing. And I've got earplugs in, so we communicate using a whiteboard. So he writes this message, and it's like, hot feeds coming, cramp fix on the way, something called cramp fix, which I'd never used. Like we always tell people that never use something for the first time.
Right.
Never use something for the first time that you've never tried in training.
Yeah.
But we had this cramp fix.
Specialized formula for ass cramps.
Specialized specifically for left-hand cheeks, So like, but like, it was this pickle juice, like high concentrate pickle juice. And I didn't we'd never really discussed how we were going to use this. So Jay usually like lowers down a drinks bottle, and I usually, like, for my feeds, I just scull them straight away.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what I was supposed to do with this cramp fix. So he puts it in the bottle, and I just thought it was another feed. And so I chug it down, and it's like straight down the gullet.
Oh.
And it's just this pungent, if that's the right word, pungent, overpowering pickle juice that's just shot through my body and straight down to the lower left arse cheek. I'm like, whoa.
It's like Popeye.
Popeye's like, doo, doo.
He takes off.
But yeah, I went from this position of being in absolute dire straits and like on the ropes to, man, let's do this. Like, I could get back into this, and the stroke rate's starting to come back. The mood of the team, everyone's starting to get a bit hyped up, and we went from a position of being almost down and out to coming within 4 minutes of breaking that world record. Which was insane. Like, you always know it's going to be close when you look up at the team on the boat and their hands are waving like this, and like, I kind of have a good idea of how many, like, what the time is, because I do my feeds every 20 minutes. So I knew we were there or thereabouts. And when you see this waving hands, it's like, I've already thrown everything I've got against the wall. Like, I can't do any more. But
Yeah.
But finished that swim. We were 4 minutes over the world record. Landed on these rocks in Scotland, but I couldn't have cared less. Like the time, yeah, it was a good time, and obviously it would have been nice to have broken a world record, but to come back from that position of strife and to recognize you don't have to go it alone. It's okay to ask for help. Like those were so much more powerful lessons than any result could be. So like that was such an amazing swim for me, and obviously to be swimming to Scotland about half an hour from where I grew up, like it was super, super cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, as people that are never going to do channel swims, it's fun to listen to. I like going fast. I like going fast.
Fix.
I'll take the cramp fix. I'll listen. I got glute problems myself, so I understand. That one hits home. So you refound the sport, rediscovered the sport, within the past decade less in COVID, and now you're in a place where you're doing things for the first time. You're pioneering and also doing the hardest challenges that there are in the sport. What is continuing to motivate you? Like, and I assume that maybe that wasn't expected when you got back in the pool for the first time, but now I imagine as accomplishment starts to stack up, you have this lifestyle around swimming, so long as you're still motivated by going to training on a daily basis. Like, what are those motivating factors for you? What's next?
This is a great question. And I think it's an important one too, because why would you put yourself through all this? Right. We've talked about these crazy distances. We've talked about swimming through icy waters. We've talked about the potential for encountering sharks. We've talked about seasickness, getting stung by jellyfish. Like, what is the motivation behind taking on these kind of challenges? And I think, before I answer the question, I think anyone that sets out to do one of these things or pursue a goal like that needs to know their answer, because when times inevitably get tough, that's what it's going to fall back to. What's your why? Like when I was spending about 2 hours swimming on the spot in Molokai, what the hell am I doing this for? And I had answers to that question, and they kept me going forward. I was raising money for mental health. I wanted to revisit unfulfilled goals. I wanted to do my family proud. I wanted to, a plethora of different things that all combine to be a really strong why. Mm-hmm. And so, as I look forwards, yes, I would love to do more pioneering challenges. I would love to go to some more amazing places and meet incredible people, like continue this lifestyle for sure. My why's probably changed in a sense where the personal aspiration side of it is largely fulfilled. So, one of the reasons I got back in was I felt like I hadn't achieved the goals I wanted to as a pool swimmer, and I wanted to revisit that through a different path, which was open water swimming and ultramarathon swimming. It wasn't something I set out to do straight away, but it developed into that. And now I've been fortunate to go on and achieve things I could never have dreamed of. Swimming around Manhattan Island, breaking world records, doing the Ocean 7, meeting all these amazing people, building a bit of a following around that, people that I've been able to inspire. I've raised, hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity. All these things that I just, if you wind the clock 5 years ago, like I would never have imagined. But as I look forward now, there are other motivations. What can I do with this platform that I have? Can I do swims in places where I can make a difference? how can I use what I have to be of benefit to society and the people around me? Can I make a job out of this as well? Like, I like to think I'm quite good at what I do. So is there a way to combine my passion with purpose? And I'm not someone that wants to be ultra wealthy, but I'd love to be able to get by and continue doing this. And I think the purpose aspect is a big carrot for me and a big driver for me. We did a swim in the Middle East in April. We were part of a relay team that swam around the Kingdom of Bahrain, 170 kilometers in the Middle East, 4 people, and I was one of them. 2 of the team were 2 Arabic Muslims. And we're doing this 170 kilometer non-stop relay around the island. It was live streamed on national TV and, in the news there. And people just hadn't seen anything like it.
Yeah.
People had never seen anything like it. And they were like, what the hell is going on? And like, geez, you've got someone from a woman from Saudi Arabia and a woman from Bahrain swimming around this island in these pretty challenging conditions, non-stop, swimming 170 kilometers, day and night. So they're swimming in the middle of the night as well. And I was getting messages from people in the region, young females as well, and they were like, this is bloody amazing. Like, you don't quite realize what this is doing for us. This gives us hope.
Wow.
Like, they can have these role models to look up to, see people are doing amazing things and be inspired and aspire to go on and do that, whether that's in swimming, whether that's in music or whatever it is in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I see. Like, I see an opportunity to do really cool things, try elevate local heroes onto like put them in the limelight, and because everyone needs their heroes. Everyone needs their role models to look up to. And, I'm a white guy from the west of Scotland. Like, I don't relate to everyone, but if I can do a swim challenge with, some people that are local to that part of the world, mm-hmm. and help them to do something that people just cannot comprehend, swimming around Bahrain, maybe even doing a swim in India this year, like that's on the cards. Just moving the needle on what people think is possible. Like, I think that is something I would love to do, and I would love to work with other people to do that and find a way to make this path sustainable, because I think my role and my skill set and what I can do is better served here than if I go back to the job that I had before, which was an accountant. And not that I don't love my spreadsheets and whatnot, but I feel like I can do a bit more as Andy the swimmer rather than Andy the accountant.
I don't know too many accountants that have that kind of purpose, so I think you're right on that. Strategic thinking. Hey man, we got some rapid fire questions for you to wrap it up. What's the hardest race in swimming?
200 freestyle.
Olympic gold or world record?
Olympic gold.
What is the Mount
world record?
Everest?
You could do it anytime. So Olympic gold every 4 years.
Yeah.
What is the Mount Everest of marathon swimming?
English Channel.
Mm-hmm.
What's the song you're most likely to sing at karaoke?
Backstreet Boys. I want it that way. I've probably lost everyone now. So.
All right. If you're not going back to accounting and you couldn't be an athlete, what career would you want?
This is supposed to be a rapid fire. Business advisor.
Business. All right. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
What's a habit you're trying to build in 2026?
saying no to things more, focusing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm a bit too. I overcommit sometimes, and I think I just got to narrow down and focus more.
Mm-hmm. All right, this one might not be rapid, but what's the hardest set that you've ever done?
3,300s on 330, and we had to descend 1 to 3, and we had to do head ups every 5, and we had to change under the lane rope once every 50 meters.
Okay.
Head up every 5 meters, every 5 300
5 strokes.
5 strokes.
Every 5
And you
strokes. So
held
head
that
up 5.
Long course.
So it was a 9K session, 9K main set. I remember doing it, and that's at the end of a week. No, it was on 350, 340, 330. 350, 340, 330. So you're still not getting that much rest. But it was descend 1 to 3, and it was short rest.
Was this before or after the quality over quantity mantra took over?
This was 2016, so 10 years ago, when I had a brief period where I stepped up from the 200 freestyle up to the 10K. And I was training with the 10K guys that were, looking to make the Olympic Games and whatnot. And I remember it, Friday night, myself and an Australian swimmer called Simon Puttinga, 3,300s, 1 on 350, 1 on 340, 1 on 330, head up 5s, under the lane rope once every 50 meters. Off you go.
No thanks.
And we did it. And I look back at that and I get anxiety just thinking about it. It's just like, I don't know how. We did it somehow.
Last one then on a brighter note for training that maybe hopefully is not anxiety inducing is how much social kick are you doing these days?
Well, none.
That's the wrong answer.
I'm an antisocial guy. It's a shockingly short amount. I mean, I suppose in the longer the distance, the less kick you're kind of doing. So,
with 500 meters of warm down, 500 warm down.
I did about 100 of back kick, but I wasn't chatting to anyone.
Your hip flexors will thank you. You need to loosen them up at some point. At that, you can't just do this 2-beat kick all the time, man. You got a lot of great wisdom nuggets, and it's certainly inspirational. So congratulations on where you are in life to be in a position to share your experiences. It obviously has come with a lot of work, but I can validate that, we are now part of, the tribe of people that have had exposure to you. And I think that's really got to be fulfilling for you to know that, it does land with impact, the story that you tell and the one that you're weaving. So thanks for sharing some time with us, man. It's been awesome.
Man, that's some really lovely words, Brian. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed this chat with both of you guys, and similarly, keep doing what you're doing. Like, there's so many amazing people out there with incredible stories, and like we were saying before we started on here, like it is these chats that are one of the best parts of the sport. These conversations about all these different aspects of swimming and everything that's wrapped around it. So yeah, appreciate the chance to chat with you guys, and yeah, keep up all your great work. It's so good.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man. Well, we certainly will, and you're welcome back anytime. We'd love to have you. With that's it for this episode of Social Kick. We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Hey everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode of Social Kick and you'd like to see more, subscribe to the channel. And we love talking swimming. We'd love to talk about swimming with you. So leave us a comment and we'll see you next time.